What's going on, Walking Dead family? Welcome back to the channel. This is my review and breakdown for Fear the Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 7. Next week's episode will be the mid-season finale, so this has flew by, absolutely. But so far this season it's been absolutely terrific, and this was another terrific episode for me. Last week's one with, Al was okay. I didn't enjoy it as much, but this one was definitely Fear back to its best, big time. And we open with Strand wanting a portrait drawn of him because he's the guy who created this community, the tower, and he gets this artist to draw this picture. But then there's also people outside of the tower who want to get into the community, and you have to use the phone, and Strand talks to them, but he has sent away so many people. And then Morgan calls with baby Mo, basically saying, look Strand, I know we've had our differences, but my baby is sick, I need your help. And Strand does not like this portrait that this woman draws of him whatsoever. She is devastated to see that Strand gets her portrait, her picture, her art, and just throws it out amongst the dead, which was pretty hardcore from Strand. And I thought it was a pretty good picture, pretty accurate and pretty awesome. But that's how this episode mostly opens. And eventually Morgan does get into the tower with baby Mo, because Strand is a monster. He's a villain, but he's not that bad of a person. But as we go on with the episode, we learn that he only let Morgan in to use him for something, for Morgan to do something for him. Morgan comes in, he looks at the tower, he's reunited with June. Of course, June is there now as a nurse, helping people. That's all she's ever wanted. And they talk about, John Dory and June, about running away from her problems, running away. John tried to do something similar and he ended up being killed. So he's trying to convert people back to him in a way and get away from Strand, because Strand can't be trusted whatsoever. But June has to help the baby. I think the baby has an ear infection, I think that's what she said, and it's going to take a few days for the medicine to kick in. And Strand wants to have a bourbon or a whiskey with Morgan, and he goes to Morgan, look Morgan, I need you to do something for me or you'll never see that little girl again. And we never get to see what Strand wanted Morgan to do in this sequence, because the Stalkers, the mysterious group that we've seen all throughout this season, are catapulting zombies, radioactive zombies, towards the tower. We meet their leader or sub-leader, who wants residency in the tower, or for all of the community to leave so his people can move in. And actually, interestingly enough, Morgan did talk to this person earlier in the episode about coming into the community, and Strand turned them away, thinking that they could have been bad people, and he was right, they are bad people. But Strand gets sick for some reason, he has to go to bed, he passes out. Then we have John Dory Sr. on top of the tower with a rifle, looking at this group, ready to take a shot, waiting for the all clear from Strand. But then we get an appearance from Wendell, Sarah's brother. Wendell is all safe and sound. We got Sarah a few episodes ago looking for him, but we get to see what made Strand sick. Somebody within the tower has poisoned him, and I did not expect the twist that comes later in the episode about who did it, but it was pretty interesting to see Strand in such a state where he can't trust anybody. And then he even drops that Sarah was here looking for Wendell, and Wendell's like, what? You lied to me about my sister? She was here? So that was interesting. Strand will not trust anybody, and he goes to Morgan. He goes, Morgan, me and you, we're going to do this together, because I can only trust you if I take your daughter. So the tower has been hurt, but their only chances is to go down into the infirmary so they can make contact with Grace, who is nearby, and she can stop this group from throwing more walkers into the tower, radioactive walkers who are very dangerous. And if they go off, they can cause a massive explosion. So the plan is to get down there and make contact with Grace to attack this group so everybody can be safe. And Strand takes Mo as kind of leverage towards Morgan, so Morgan has to do this. And he lowers Morgan down to make the call, but there of course is walkers there, so they have to be very, very careful. But they successfully complete this mission, and Grace is able to stop this group from attacking the tower further. And it was an interesting enough sequence, because there is walkers there, it's very dangerous, and then Strand has to lower down Mo to Morgan to make sure she's safe, and then Morgan's going to leave Strand behind, but ends up coming back to save his life. But as Morgan and Strand are helping each other, Strand notices that Morgan has blue on his fingers, which is the poison that poisoned Strand earlier in the episode. It was Morgan that put it into his drink, and then a big fight sequence happens between Strand and with Morgan, and Mo was there as well. And just before Morgan kills Strand's men and Howard show up to stop Morgan. So, Morgan tried to kill Strand from the inside. He tried to poison him, but it didn't work out. He forgot to wash his hands. So then we have, at the top of the tower, Strand is going to throw Morgan off. Throw him off the tower and absolutely just kill Morgan off from the show. But Grace calls Strand and makes a deal. She wants Strand to spare Morgan's life, and in return she will take out the walkers around the tower that are leaking radiation, because the stalkers, were filling these walkers with radiation and then throwing them towards the tower, and some of them could even blow up because of what's inside them. And Strand says, okay, I'll spare Morgan's life, but you have to live here with this baby in my domain with my rules, and you do what I ask. And then Strand's like to Morgan, okay, Morgan, your life is spared, but I want to give them everything that you couldn't: food, protection. So it's interesting. And then near the end of the episode, Strand wants the baby, and Howard's like, oh, okay, for what? And Strand's like, she needs to get used to her father eventually. So it looks like Strand wants Mo as his kid, which is very messed up. And when Morgan finds this out, it's going to cause an even bigger war. But he looks at the portrait, which is now torn because he wanted his men to go out and get the portrait. And the portrait's not as good as it used to look, but he's like, this is how I want people to see me. This is what I want them to see. And Strand's a great villain. He really is this season so far. But he has a child now. Mo is his child, according to him. And Morgan will not be impressed at this whatsoever. So Morgan's life is spared, and now he goes back out into this nuclear fallout environment that we've been seeing all season, and he comes across the stalkers, the group that was attacking the tower, and he thinks that he's in danger, but actually riding with this group is Dwight and Sherry. Reunited again, which is awesome. We got to see Dwight and Sherry in a pretty cool episode a few episodes ago where that wrestling sequence happened with the walkers. That was awesome. I really love that. Even though it's cheesy as hell, it was still fun to watch. But the leader of this group is Alicia. She has returned. She is back, and Morgan was very happy to see her. And Alicia's been around since season 1. Her and Strand have been in this show since season 1. So they're the OGs. They're the faces of this Fear the Walking Dead universe, per se, if you've followed the show from the start. So it's awesome to see her back, and it's interesting enough that she is not impressed with Strand whatsoever, and Strand cares for her. Strand's weakness is Alicia. Even when Morgan and Strand were trying to work together, but then Morgan was going to leave with Mo, Strand goes, I know where Alicia is, and then that kind of caught Morgan's interest because he wants to find her. But then these walkers that were outside of the tower, the radioactive zombies that are leaking this radioaction material, are walking towards them. Morgan's like, don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot. And of course, some of the people do shoot, and the walkers blow up. And now this gas is coming towards them, and now Morgan's like, everybody run. So everybody in this camp has to run away, because if you're exposed to that, you're going to get really sick, or you could just die straight away in an instant. So that's awesome. That's a pretty cool cliffhanger going into next week's episode. And I really like what Fear the Walking Dead is doing this year. Even though it's a little bit cheesy at times, I do like the nuclear fallout, the radioaction material that's coming out of these zombies, radioactive zombies. Just the cinematography, everything is pretty awesome. But then we go into next week's episode, this mid-season finale, and we'll probably find out what Alicia's plan is towards Strand and what's going to happen further in the storyline going into season 7, mid-season finale into part 2. So yeah, interesting enough. We'll have to see how it goes, guys. But what's your thoughts on this episode for The Walking Dead season 7, episode 7? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know below. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for all this Walking Dead news, rumors, reviews, breakdowns just like this. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And next week is The Walking Dead World Beyond series finale and Fear the Walking Dead mid-season 7 finale. See you then, guys. Thanks for watching.